Today's a Monday, so what's really important on Mondays, and I'm actually in one of the other buildings because the music's going, everything else, the guys are busy. The important thing on a Monday is that we assess where the guys were at from the previous week. If they weren't in, if they were only with us for a couple days, if they had a weekend tournament, if they had a bullpen, if they had a showcase, if they were gone and doing things with family, like there's a lot of different determining factors. And what's cool is we're gonna give them a pretty exhaustive warm up as it is anyways, before they ever get to their arm care testing. So we'll know where they're at. And we're just able to gather so much more information and then tailor their program for the week for our summer guys. For our remote guys, it's the same exact thing. So they can check in with us. They can let us know we need to adjust the program, the schedule, because XYZ, this is how I feel. And we're able to do that. The more information and the more data we have, the better. So for you guys that are watching at home, if you're looking for like, how can I do this? I don't have access to your guys' app and your programming and a coach. It's tracking things, which is just a fancy way. It's not even fancy, but writing things down. Okay, what did I do? When did I throw? How much? How did my body feel? How much food, sleep, and water did I get? That way you can schedule out the week. So if you are super exhausted over the weekend and you didn't get a lot of sleep, well then on the front end of this coming week, you need to make sure that you're not doing too high of intensity or too heavy, because what you need to make up for is the sleep, the food, and the water, not getting extra reps because you missed over the weekend. You're gonna have to kind of ease back into it and then adjust your schedule accordingly. So biggest thing in the beginning of a week with what you're doing is making sure to know where you were at, where you're going, what's coming up, and then planning according. So we're gonna test guys' strength to see where they're at with the arm care dynamometer devices, see where they've been at relative to their norms and their averages, and then plan out the week and make sure that they are good to go, because everyone's in a different spot. Some guys need to do deload week. Some guys need a high intensity week. Some guys just need a lot of extra reps on new drills, for example. And so that's what we're gonna do typically on a Monday. One of the big updates that we did, so in our app, if you're in our app, if you wanna access, reach out. But our warm-ups, our movement prep, we just did a whole foot prep warm up to get your feet right, because like we've just seen across the board, people are terrible with their feet. If you're not sweating and if your heart rate is not elevated for your warm up, then you can do more. And we've just seen so many guys that struggle with doing enough. And so we've had to add to it. Same with our workouts. So our workouts are more extensive. We've got everything very highly increased, a lot of updates, so that guys are getting a full routine in and getting a lot of good work in and exhausting their bodies so that they can then recover and get stronger. So that's been a huge update for us. A lot of you guys are curious, how do you program things? Like, how is it that you're able to have success, and what do you guys do? Like, what's the mindset and the thought process when you program athletes training and throwing routines? And here's what we do. First and foremost, obviously health. And within that, we're trying to account for expectations, which is typically the expectation that most of you are not going to put in the amount of work that it's required. So we're going to lay out what's required and what's necessary. But I'll be honest, there are some guys we figure out, we try to get an idea of where they're at. And we're going to make sure you get momentum first. So we're going to give you what is enough for you to feel like you can be successful, because some of you're soft. Like, we're just gonna be honest, you're soft. So we need to know that you can do the stuff that's soft and do it well and do it easily and repeat it over and over and put in the work, and then we'll build, then we'll build, then we'll build. What we just found out is that, if we give everyone the blanket same program, then they just don't do everything. So we strategically, that's why we customize so much of what we do. We're strategically giving guys what they can do and have success with. And then as fast as possible, when you are bought in, then we'll add. And it's just your job when you're working with us to not really impress us, but to prove that you've got what it takes, because we know what it takes. We know what it looks like. We've got the program for you. But you got to prove it first. You got to earn it. With everything we do, you got to earn it. So we're going to make sure you're staying healthy. It's repeatable. All the movements you're doing, everything is customized, yes. But we got to build from there. And then from there, once you have the success, once you're doing things, you're bought in, what we're doing next is just pushing the needle, optimize, looking for as many stacked opportunities as possible. So I just had a conversation with one of our guys, one of our D1 guys, and he's doing mobility. And I said, scale of 1 to 10, how uncomfortable with you or with your mobility routine are you? And he said 5 or 6. He might have said 7. I said, all right, let's make it a 10. Let's take you into a deeper range of motion. Let's really challenge that. And he's earned the right to do that. Some of our guys have more of a basic mobility routine. Some guys don't have it to start because of their schedule and whatever it is. But there's always ways that we can optimize things. And that's what we're trying to do. Start from a place of health, start from a place of let's get some momentum, and then let's stack as quickly as you can get bought into what we're doing, because there's always more that we can do. And so that's how we go about that. So this is kind of cool. We actually, here's the box, a lot of things we use. I just recorded a video. They're doing armcare.com is doing a $10,000 giveaway, and asked if we wanted to make a post for it. I said, heck yeah, because it's legit what they've got. And if you do the program to a T, very important, right? You got to put the work in. And then you get hurt, they're just so confident that that's not going to happen that they're offering. If it did happen, if someone got hurt after doing their program to a T, then they're going to cut a check for $10,000. So that was pretty sweet. Again, highly recommend. They've got the crossover symmetry bands that they use in conjunction with it. We've also got their hip and core bands. It's just a legit all-in-one program in the app, and it's awesome. So if you guys are watching this and you do want to, you don't have to use our code, but VELODR, so like Velo Doctor, that's what someone called me one time, so it stuck, and that's what we use for the code. You'll get 10% off. You guys don't have to use it. You can get it for full cost or whatever. I don't care. You should just have one. But if you want to save, I believe it's 10% on all the equipment you're buying. It's VELODR, so like Velo Doctor at checkout. There's many things that we do with our guys when they're trying to get their drill work in to improve their feel. I've actually got a long list that I usually put on the board, but I want to show you guys one of our secret weapons. It's not really a secret weapon, but nobody uses it. Right there, a mirror. We actually got these ones too, like you can buy at the store that are really cheap. A mirror works really well because you can see in real time what you're doing. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take one of these guys and we will put it kind of leaned on an L screen in front of the guy. And then we'll put a 10 by 10 screen in front of that so you're not smashing it. And you can then just see yourself. You put it wherever you want so that you're seeing in real time what you're doing from a drill standpoint. Because usually it's like, you just go by feel, or you go by recorded video that you got to go back and watch. Or you got to ask your coach who does or doesn't really have a clue what they're doing. Not the case with our guys, clearly. And you're just kind of at the mercy of a time delay. So with a mirror, you know instantly so you don't waste any reps. Also, shoes and socks off. Another thing we do is negative reps. So a lot of our guys will introduce, especially when it's a newer concept or they're having a difficulty kind of understanding the feel, we will have them do a bad rep and then do a good rep. Because the only reason you know what white is and that it's opposite black is because you know what black is. The only reason you know what hot is because you know what cold is, and it's opposite, and you can describe the differences. So similarly, if you know what a bad rep feels like, then you can more easily and clearly define what a good rep is. And then what we do to additionally heighten the sense of feel and understanding is they write it in their journal. So there's all kinds of different things we can do, mirrors, feedback, video, watching others, take your shoes and socks off, all those things. And then we always try to help them remember it as much as possible by writing it in their journal. And that can really, really elevate your retention, your ability to remember things that work. And then we stack those on top of each other. And that's just another way that we're getting guys to have a ton of success so fast, and we speed up the learning curve. Closing thoughts today are shortcuts give you short-term results, and oftentimes you won't even get short-term results. So if you're looking for shortcuts, you can find them everywhere, left, right, front, center, and behind. And you'll end up behind if you aren't already behind. We just, in our remote program and in person, and we're talking like if guys leave stuff out, they're picking up trash. If they're doing the remote program and they're not up to snuff, that's our job to let them know that they're not doing everything that they can, to hold them accountable, to hold them to a higher standard, because that's what we do, right? And so if you're not doing everything that's laid out and scripted out for you for your success, that's fine. There's no like, you're not a bad human for doing that. But also at the end of the day, when you have something that works, when you're held to an expectation, then it is what it is and it is what it takes. And if you don't do that, well then it's no surprise why you're not getting the results.